My name is Stephen Thomas Evison, but for the past 15 years, people have called me Coach. When I first started this project, I always thought about who am I going to have on first or who am I going to have on in general. And the first person that I always wanted was to be someone that has been with me since the very beginning, someone that's been with me since I started taking this seriously, a good mentor, probably one of the best that a new coach can have, and it's been an absolute pleasure for Jose Villafan. Jose, how long have people been calling you coach?
Oof, probably 2007, I think, was the first time. It was a recreational, no, it was like a little recreational team,
Wow,
uh, my hometown for Julian, for my oldest son. It was
18 years. Wow.
yeah, yeah, so it's been a long time.
Wow. That's crazy. Jose is the a head coach of UPSL Pateadores, director of Pateadores SCV, and head coach of Valencia High School, and also an assistant coach at Masters University. And I want to talk about everything, but first, you just started a project in a UPSL team. How did your first season go, and what do you think about the UPSL program as a whole?
So before I answer that, congrats on getting this off the ground. Super happy for you, very proud of you. I know it's been a work in progress, so I'm always
Thank you.
cheering for you from the sidelines. So it's super
Appreciate
nice to see it and actually doing it. It's pretty cool. So thank you for letting me be your first person on. It means a lot, and I'm just grateful to be part of your process. So with that being said, also congrats on your wedding.
Thank you,
So
thank you, thank you.
we had
I was to save a comment for the very end, but thank you very much. I'll save the comment, but absolutely thank you.
well, we had a great time. So we could, with that being said, we could jump right into your question. And it was UPSL the first year, right? Was that the
Yep,
question?
yep.
You don't know what you don't know, and you end up finding out through the process a lot of things that could make things better, but you're so neck deep in everything that you just have to kind of navigate that whole process and just learn from it.
Mm.
But I think from the very beginning, it's something that we wanted to do. We had planned it out for about a year, and we did everything that we thought we needed to be prepared. But the reality is that you're never fully prepared. All right. And but it was a great experience. I probably hadn't been that excited about coaching or even a new project in a long time. It was really exciting. Just the whole process, the whole everything, and I just think that round two, which would be next spring, is just going to be so much better. We already kind of know what we want, what we're looking for, what we need to do, organizational standpoint of things, player personnel wise. Like there's just a lot of things that go into it. And it is, you really have to love the sport to be able to do it because like every person I've talked to that has been around and done something similar in the past is like, the number one thing is there's no money in it, is you got to love it for the passion and you just got to be able to see what the project is long term in order to really get the benefits that you want out of it. So everything just aligned for us, and I thought it was it was nerve wracking at the beginning, but then once things started going, it was a good process.
Going into it, I keep telling all my players, you only have X amount of players of youth soccer left, and so going into it, did you think that this is basically the next step, what life is looking like after youth soccer? You know, where you're kind of looking for a bridge, whether that bridge is to continue to play at a high level, or maybe you're looking for a bridge to play college, or maybe you're looking for a bridge to play overseas. Maybe you're just looking. Is that still kind of the mindset where you see it as a bridge to play at the next level beyond youth soccer?
I do. So what happens is you have players that in their mind they're ready, like they're ready for a next level. and it's a reality check because once you're around guys that know how to play, that have always played, that are just high soccer IQ, quick decision making, just leaders on the field, just ball handlers, that split second decision makers, that you think that guys are ready, especially youth players, but there's a big gap. There's a huge gap because now you're talking about men, right? And yeah, 18-year-old compared to a 22-year-old is a big difference. And it's noticeable at this level. And you're playing against literally men. Some guys are 26, 30-year-olds, 35-year-olds. And these are, we played, there's this academy, Hulipeng Academy. They had four ex-pro players on the field the entire time.
Jesus.
And they might not be super fast, but they don't need to be super fast just because they're moving off the ball and how they read the game, their positioning. It's you could just tell like there's just superior to other guys, and there's just levels to it. But I think that once if you have the right mindset, if you're coachable, if you have all the tangibles or intangibles that you need, it could be the gap or the bridge to get you to that next phase. I know a lot of times college or a lot of you'll see it a lot more today. A lot of younger kids will bypass playing youth soccer, Cal South or NorCal, SoCal soccer, and they'll go into a UPSL team because they want that experience and it looks better on their college resumes when they're sending their videos, right? They're playing
Mhm.
against men already. So it does prepare you for it. And we kind of use it a little bit to have our college guys do something during the off season. So that way there's not really a big lag time for them when
Mhm.
during the summer. But it's definitely a bridge and it is definitely a step up of real competitive soccer. Like it is everything you could ever think of. Like you for a player wise, like you're going against guys that you're just use some there's some styles of play that are just like guys that look for fouls. Like there's teams that just want to play a counterattack and just mess with your head. Like it's a whole other level, things that you see at a higher level. And I think it is a bridge. And if you're able to get onto a UPSL team, like it'll be a really good experience for you.
Cool. So you said that you are already committed to next year, the spring. So when are tryouts, if you have just a rough estimate of for tryouts, and what kind of players are you looking for? Are you just looking for anybody that wants to come try out and take a look at them? Is there a specific player? Are you going to take a roster from last year? What does the team look like right now?
So I think we've been super fortunate. I think like have you've been part of the Pats journey for a long time, before you are where you are now. And you could for a long time we had a really good caliber of players that competed like pretty much anywhere. And those guys today are alumni and a lot of those come back. So we have a lot of returning players. I think at one point we fielded probably a whole team, if not more, of just returning Pats players.
Oh wow.
And that honestly that felt really really good. Like the guys that played for you, guys that played for Ken, guys that played for Jim, guys that played for me, and it was literally a full group of alumni of all guys that went through our system, and they were legit players. So and they still look good today. But the player wise, not it's just open to everyone. But we are looking. I think after going through this first year, one of the reasons why we also wanted to use one of the things we wanted to use the UPSL team was a pathway for our players that are looking to get into colleges, and then once they age out, and some of our club players could have somewhere to play. And that doesn't mean like we're going to take five, six, seven of our club players to play on the UPSL team. Like it's very limited to maybe two or three that could set themselves apart. That this is really going to help them to get to that next level and bridge that gap. So it's extremely competitive. I think this year last year we had a group of reserve players, and I think this year we'll probably do less reserve players and more actual competitive guys that could come in and contribute immediately. So we're just looking for ballers. Like we're just looking for players, defenders that know how to defend, that know how to defend 1v1, guys that know how to do open field defending, just different variations of attacking. We're looking for those explosive players that could get on the field, make a difference, whether that's defensively, offensively, holding possession, holding shape, just guys that could really help the team. So overall, we're looking for a good quality of player, and if you think you fit that profile, then more than likely come out. And we'll start probably tryouts in January. It'll
Okay.
probably be January, and because that league starts right away. It starts, second week of March,
Okay.
so it doesn't. There's not that much time. So you have tryouts in January, and February you have to get a rhythm going, and beginning of March you're playing.
Cool. And there, because this is a separate league, anybody that's playing in like an ECNL team or even SoCal Soccer, EA2, you can be rostered on two different teams and not have a conflict. Or do you know of any conflicts that would come from players that are currently in club systems?
So, for my knowledge, there isn't any conflict. It's a totally different league. It's an adult league. It's a semi-pro amateur league. So it's totally different than anything else out there. So I don't think there's conflict, but I really don't know. Like I really
Okay.
don't know since we're not really in season during that time, either for club or for college across those channels. Then I really don't know like if it interferes with ECNL or MLS Next or things of that sort. I know like those like MLS Next and ECNL they play all year, so it could be a little more difficult for them. And but if you have an opportunity to play on a UPSL team and you're able to make a roster, you will learn a lot. Like you just see that gap, like just close off with the talent. It's a really good experience.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, just switching gears here. You said that there's a lot of players that on the UPSL team kind of use it as a time to play over spring when season isn't going. But right now, Masters College season is going, and you've been an assistant coach. You've been an assistant coach for how many years now? Now?
I'm going to my third season, so this will be my third season
Wow.
at Masters. Yeah, it it's fun. Like
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
it's like an environment where if you could be in that environment, it's just the culture, the players, the coaching staff, like just overall, like you guys are competing, getting better, and I don't know, it's been super fun. Right?
Yeah, you mentioned the coaches. I mean, Jim Rickard, who I consider someone that I can reach out to if I have a question about soccer, but for some reason he's kind of like my end all be all guru. Anytime I ask him a question, he just has the most thoughtful answer anybody can ever come up with. And I'm sure working underneath him and being with him for the last 3 years has given you almost a knowledge that you never thought you can obtain. So how has it been working underneath Jim and the master's program?
So the answer you get whenever you call Jim is it's called experience. It's on 35th season, right? So 35 seasons as
Wow.
a head coach, like that's freaking incredible. Like to see that in a game today, someone that's been there established, like he has I think he's a couple of wins away from being like top 10 in AIA
Wow.
games won in coaching history. So like it's a pretty it's an it's really nice to be around him. Like a lot of guys or a lot of coaches ask me, oh well, how's coach? Like I he's been nothing but amazing. Like everything that he does, like everything has a purpose, and I think I'm a huge proponent of being around people that are just I don't know, just better at their craft than you are, right? Like it just pushes you to be better, pushes you to learn. But literally, I'm like a sponge when I'm there. Like I try to absorb everything that I can, and I take the good, the bad, the pretty much everything we can, and we just learn from it. And but I'm not like at the end of the day, I'm there to support. I'm there to support coach, support the players. There to learn, and it's super fun. Like it's really enjoyable. Like it's really good to be around all of them, and just overall, I would say one of the biggest things is that I also see it as a privilege because it's very hard to meet other criteria and do other things to be able to get into a position of being an assistant coach at any college. So I do consider myself super fortunate to have the opportunity. But yeah, it's been nice, and obviously coach in action, sometimes it's like science. Like you're just like, like he broke that down in a scientific way where I would probably never have broken it down the same way, or at least not as neatly. You know?
So we're in September right now, and from my understanding, college is not full swing, but you guys are at least 1 month in. Have you started league games yet?
No, so we start today. We have a game against Occidental. It's our, I think this is our probably one of our last. Oh, this is our first counting match. Like, so it's a non-league game, but it counts on our record. So it'll be a big game for us. We've had three scrimmages so far, and they were all kind of all over the place, but now we're have a better idea. I think that's a tricky part of college soccer. Like we start August, August, that first Monday of August, and you have 2 weeks to prepare, and then you're preparing. Like we played Cal State Bakersfield, Division I school. Like every single one of those players could probably be a pro player, right?
Wow.
And so there's levels to this, and you're like, wow, like how you want to compete and you want to get better, but you also there's a gap that you're trying to bridge or close off a little, and so that it's super interesting. Then you'll play like a Division III school, and then you'll play a Division II school, and I think for the most part we compete pretty well. It's just finding, but it's just you have so little time to find the chemistry on the field, the right player personnel, the right formations, the right style of play, because everything changes really, really fast in college soccer. Like I could see us today, like today, I know Occidental plays probably the best 3-5-2 I've ever seen. Like they are
Oh
legit.
wow.
Like it's like you see them and it's what is like what's happening right now, and you just have to adjust on the fly, and sometimes your players have to be ready to go into a 4-4-2 diamond formation, or a 4-2-3-1, or just like a 4-4-2 with two blocks of four. So the guys just have to be ready, like for whatever the game gives you at that time. So, but to answer your question, yeah, today's our first non-league counting game, so I'm pretty excited. 7 o'clock, so excited
Best
about that.
well, best of luck on that game and then for the rest of the season as well. So, but going to my old stomping grounds in Pateadores SCV, you have taken over the director of Pats. How has that been going? Did you ever think that you would be a director of a chapter of club? Was it a goal? I mean, it's something that we both kind of just fell into. How is the club? How many teams do you have? How many players you got? What's the news on my old club?
You know what? For the first time, like this season, things are actually starting to feel normal. Like okay, like we got things kind of under control. We kind of know what we need to do, player recruit wise, team wise, coaching staff wise, and like kind of like the UPSL, you don't know what you don't know until you're actually doing it. So as you go through the process, it's like okay, year one was tough, year two was tougher, and I think year three is it's finally the water has settled, or you could see the light at the end of the tunnel. So, but I think we have the right coaching staff, we have the right people in place, and the reality is that I wouldn't be able to do Pats at all without Andy. So Andy's a
Hmm.
huge proponent of everything. So I know he's been super involved, in kind of how we do it now is everything that's off the field, Andy's in charge of that. Everything that's on the field, I'm in charge of that. So broken down to have just organizational standpoints of he's really good at what he does and I can do what I do. I'm not the greatest, but I'm trying to help our coaches and get everyone kind of where they need to be. And it's hard though, man. It's super hard. I didn't think I would be a director. I didn't have a plan like, hey, I'm going to go and be a director of a club. That was never in the books. It
Hmm.
just kind of happened, like when you were there. And I think team wise, we're pretty good right now. I think we have 8 teams, and we've talked about max capacity. And I think the reality is that we never want to be more than 12 to 14. I think
Hmm.
14 would even be stretching it. We're always going to be in between that 10 to 12 range. And I think just for what we want for the club, it's just to be the most competitive, to have the top players, to really care and create a culture where it's more of a family environment and culture than have, a bunch of teams that you kind of lose a little bit of that. And like I know pretty much all the families, I know all the players, especially all the older players. Like we I know a lot of them, and everyone knows Andy, so it's a little more family oriented base,
Hmm.
and I guess you could say a little more boutique style soccer club that we have here in Santa Clarita for Pateadores. So it's been
Yeah.
pretty cool, and the support system's always been great, but I think for the most part, I don't think we would, the more teams that we would have like above 12, I think we would lose kind of the essence of who we are. So
Yeah, yeah. Going back and talking about Andy, I just want to give a huge shout out to him. He's just such a good guy, and he's such a hard worker. Does it all for the program. I mean, he's honestly, like you said, he is glue that holds it together. And I've realized ever since joining LASC that family dynamic and having a director that knows all the players and knows all the families is super important. So you stepping into that role is crucial for not only the growth of your club, but for the growth of the players too. Because at the end of the day, we do it for the players. But besides directing, are you coaching any teams? Are you doing anything?
yeah. So I haven't coached a club team like in 2 or 3 seasons. It's been a little while since I've coached a club team. So I
Uh,
did coach. I am coaching this year. I'm coaching our U19 NPL team, and it was a lot of conversations of going back and forth. But at the end, so I think when you're just a soccer coach, you're just a soccer coach, and you want to be on the field. I enjoy coaching like the older age groups. Is probably where I feel like I thrive the best, and I could connect with the players and push them in a way that I feel that I could help out. So I am coaching this year. It'll probably just be this year, the NPL team. Then next year, probably we'll have another coach take over that age group, or it depends. You know how NorCal just changed, or I keep calling it NorCal, but it's SoCal. SoCal just changed it up where they have the top three NPL teams. They make the Champions League like
yeah,
bracket, right?
the Super
That
League for
super
MPL.
group,
Yeah,
or
super
yeah.
group.
So if we're fortunate enough to make the top three, like I'd probably stay. Like I can coach the next
I
year.
love, yeah. Uh,
But if we don't, it'll probably, if we, ultimate goal is to stay in NPL. So if you could, we're usually within 4, 5, like pretty competitive, but we're always just like either one goal away or one play away from being in the top three. So, but hopefully this year it'll change and see what happens.
some of my favorite games are ones that we go against each other because it's almost like an art piece. It's dissected after the game. It's talked about before the game between us, and like you said, coaching is a craft, and I love going against you in the high school level, and then and talking about it, and it's just positive critiquing of each other, and so it looks like we have another showdown coming up for this year for the highest division of MPL. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Just kind of wrapping up for the Pats SCV. Like, what do you think about overall for your club in 2025? You have a good positive outlook on it. You think that you said you have really good competitive teams. What's the outlook for 2025?
I think like overall our teams they're all going to compete. I think they're all going to do well. I think they'll all show up and just do the things that they're supposed to. I think like for me, probably one of the biggest things is, are they learning or are they developing? I think as you see today, like one of the biggest issues that we have across the board, I think, is just technical work, individual technical work from players, like their first touch, basic fundamentals, and they're really focusing. Like we're really focusing on having good quality technical players, developing good quality technical players. So I think that, besides the wins and losses, is, are they getting better? Are they learning? Is their first touch someone that, you could hit a diagonal ball and they could touch the ball without going out of bounds? If they could take that good directional touch or make that quick decision under pressure. So it's all the things that don't require wins and losses. So I think the coaches are doing a good job. Everyone's kind of putting in the work. The players are super hungry to learn. So I think they'll do good. I think they'll be extremely competitive. And hopefully in that competition, some of them are able to win a league or along those lines. But yeah, I think we're just hoping for the best and just going to work as hard as we can silently, and just hopefully the performance on the field shows itself.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said player development. I do see that from every team that you coach, and also your coaches. They really focus on that. So best of luck in this coming up year, and I wish you guys nothing but the best. But kind of going now to probably what more people want to talk about than ever before. It's something that when we first started coaching high school soccer, we kind of were told that high school soccer is nothing and that, it's the equivalent of like a flight two. But man, there is something about flight soccer that gets every single player that's in the high school system just going. And you are the head coach at Valencia. This is going to be your fourth year or third year?
Fourth. I'm going to my fourth season.
Fourth season. So, what is your 2025, 2026 outlook for the for Valencia Vikings?
If if I have learned anything in high school soccer, is that you could know everything and know absolutely nothing. Like,
Ain't that the truth?
like it's insane. It's so emotional. It's so draining.
Oh yeah.
It's like wow. I don't know. High school soccer is just something else. And when we coached at Golden Valley together, like the reality is I wasn't looking to be a varsity coach, and with now the process of it, it's just like a whole other level. Like it's just like a whole different type of coaching. It's a whole different style of coaching. It's a whole competition is different. It's just like I see some guys where you see some players in club soccer and you're like, oh, like they're solid. And then it's like high school soccer comes along, like, where did that come from? Yeah.
It still baffles me to this day that there's some kids and some players in programs that you ask them like, what club do you play for? Oh, I don't play, and they're one of the best, and it's just yeah. So what you said earlier about how you think you know everything, and then high school soccer comes around, and it's a completely different game. And one of the biggest things about it too is it's just so short. You get the 2.5 months to try to figure it out and be the best. And I don't know. I'm with you, man. I'm going into my sixth season, and I'm still looking to figure it all out. But yeah, what do you think of your program as a whole?
So,
Going into this year?
personally, I feel like I've underachieved as a coach, a high school soccer coach, and that's really hard for me. But I also analyze everything I do. Like I think about it, like reflect on everything, and it's like, okay, well, if this happens or this happens, like you're just trying to get better, try to create a different environment. And I think today, like going into year four, like like I know Tony Scalarcio was at Valencia for 20 years, right? Something along those lines.
Yeah.
And he was successful. And he was successful playing a certain style of soccer. And some people might have agreed with it, some people didn't, but he won, and he won a lot. But he stuck to what he knew and what he was good at. And he had certain things in the program that were just rules. Like if you didn't make grades during progress report, you were just cut from the program. If he had zero tolerance, like he had like a bunch of like rules that you're like, oh well, that's kind of harsh, right?
Mm-hmm.
While going into year four, I know why he had those rules now.
It's so true. It's so true. What makes a good program is not your wins and losses. I mean, the wins and losses come from those sorts of things. It comes from creating a very unique structure for players to kind of operate in while they're going through their high school, academics. And so the ones that are, I wouldn't even say they're strictest, the ones that just have a very detailed kind of outlook, and they're very straightforward with the players. As long as the players respect the program, I think that's when you find success. But yeah, once you get it dialed in, we can talk about Saugus.
Yeah.
Growler and Joe have been doing it for a long time, and they're always up there, always competing, and their program is always dialed in, and it just comes with the experience. So going into year four, absolutely, it's time to kind of start turning those screws a little bit and kind of creating a program where the players can thrive under that structure for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, like Saugus is a really good example, right? They've been doing it for a long time. They create the right culture, the right environment for their players. Like they're just looking to do what they do and they just implement that with their players, and it could be very simple, but they're just very effective at what they do. And I think if anything I've learned like the last couple, like I'm over here trying to, let's work on the build out, let's do on, pass out of pressure, quick position based transitions. You try to get all technical, and just because that's just how I process the game. But
Right.
sometimes it's just like, just keep it as simple as possible.
Hmm.
Work on creating a real positive environment, have a really good culture, let them really display their passion for their high school, and just encourage them the best that you can to be the best players that they can be, and hopefully everything just falls into place. But yeah, I this year I think we'll do good. I think I'll do good. But to be honest, I think that your program's been doing pretty good the last few years. I think that you and Sagas probably had the best chance to really compete against Hart, this year. I think it's always been a battle. I think Saugus is really close to it. I think you're really close. You beat Hart. I don't think any of us have beat Hart in the last few years. So
The only coach to beat Hart in the last 3 seasons, sir. The only
there you
one.
go. There
That's
you go.
something I have written right near my bedside, and I just stare at every single night. And this
Dude,
is one thing I could take to the bank, and that's it. That's it. But yeah.
yeah, at the end of the day, we get the batch of players that we get, right? Like, and you just have to do the best that you can with the classes that come in. And I think on Hart, when you win that much, people want to go to Hart. Like,
Yep.
that's just one of the things. If you want the players that Hart has, then win. And you eventually you create that winning culture where it's an expectation for them. I think that, look, this is the expectation minimum is a league title, but I know their ultimate goal is to win a state championship. But you know who has a state championship?
you,
Valencia.
you guys. Yeah.
So only
Um,
one, only one. So that's pretty
yeah.
cool.
The You kind of touched a little bit on the incoming class, and it's unfortunate that I mean it's really nice that Castaic has joined our league, but that it also kind of just adds a school that some players get pulled from, and we've kind of talked before about maybe the participation of your school has kind of dropped a little bit, and we kind of think it's because of Castaic joining, but there is some players that have joined that have promise, and I think one of them is your incoming freshman. His name's Bodie. I think he's got potential. But is there any other players, freshmen, sophomores, that you're looking at that maybe could be the next level for you guys that can kind of give you
Oh,
the run that you're looking for?
that's a good question. Like, I don't usually, like, I'll look at the incoming freshmen and some of them stand out, and it's really hard sometimes to pinpoint. Okay, well, this freshman could compete because now you're competing against men, right? Like, so a lot of times you have to. There's more to it than, for high school soccer at least. There's more to it than just your movement and positional movement off the ball. Like, you have to be able to physically compete as well, and then you're also like rostering players. Like, let's say when we play against, I'll just say Hart, right? You play against Hart, like their top players can easily take on our best freshmen. So there's like levels to it. But I, I know a little of Bodie. I really don't know much about him. I think I go through all, I pretty much give, I'm there for the tryouts, especially for the juniors. I'm there for all the tryouts. But I really what we tried to do this year was kind of keep a good portion of freshmen together.
Hmm.
And then I think Bodie did make the JV team. And I think we have a couple of, maybe a handful, 3 or 4. No, I think 3 freshmen that made the JV team. But that could compete. Any freshman or sophomore that could compete.
Wouldn't be a proper new podcast without a little bit of technical difficulty. But sorry, as you were saying,
We were talking about your one of your players, Bodie,
Bodie, yeah.
right? Yeah. So I saw him tryouts. He looked okay, looked pretty good. I think there's a lot of growth that he could have. I think eventually he could be a good contributing player to the program. But it's just so hard, like just moving guys up because like you really like it's really a toss up if you really don't know them, right? Like there's times in the past where I'm like, hey, like this player, or that player, and a lot of reference or recommendation or points that other coaches give that kind of like you're like, okay, well, I take that for what I take it for what they're saying. So I do trust them a little bit. But then also it's just getting the guys and like especially freshmen, man. And I think it's probably the hardest because you really don't know. Like
Yeah.
we had this kid that he was a baseball player, Santino, and he was a good soccer player, and he came in as a freshman, really really good, and he's a senior this year, and he decided to quit and just commit to baseball. So,
Wow.
so it's like sometimes it's like like you invest into the program this much time, and you're like, all right, hopefully this year is the year. I think he was a junior. I don't
Mm.
even know what year, but either way, then they just kind of decide to do something else. So it's really hard. It's really hard with freshman players. But I think if you're able to keep a good, 6 to 7 freshmen that stay in your program for the full 4 years that are committed, dude, that's a win.
I always say I look for the five, like his can we get five that can really contribute kind of and you can kind of project them to be those senior starters their last year. And I think for Golden Valley this year, we were insanely blessed last year with the freshman class that we had last year. I had more freshmen playing on higher level teams than I've ever had, and I'm one of those that kind of goes along with what you are doing this year of trying to keep the freshmen together, with the exception of maybe three or four where I want to keep them together. And last year I just couldn't do that because I had just so much talent. But this year coming into it, I've got it's clear why that I got so many last year, because this year there's one very good one. His name's Jackson Garner. He's the only freshman that I put up on an upper team, and then I have other solid players, but a lot of development needs to be happening. And as far as Bodie goes, I'm very excited for him. I was hyping him up because it's not every day that a freshman can make JV. And you have to, like you said, you have to be able to compete with olders. And one of the things that Bodie brings is really, really good size, really good speed, decision making. Still, he can work on, and but he's just a really good athlete. And I think you're going to see him his senior year, and I think he's going to be a starter for you guys. So. I have
Good.
not done any of my predictions yet. I remember earlier you said that Golden Valley is going to be up there and compete with Hart. I hope that's the case. I have not done my predictions yet, but can you take any bold predictions for your program this year?
Those always blow up in my face, man. Like I swear.
Yeah, and once it's on the internet, it's going to be there forever. So
Last year I was so caught. Like we had a huge returning senior class. I thought, this is the year. And then just off the field issues just kind of take precedence over some stuff and just kind of derail like a lot of stuff. So it's really hard. I would say to take the focus off of Valencia, it'd be like, Saugus is gonna have an amazing year. I think, I think they're the team to beat.
yeah.
I think no, but I think, for me, obviously it's playoffs. Like that's like the number one goal. I
Mm.
think we just have to make playoffs. I think that the bare minimum of Valencia is you have to make playoffs. And I don't like, the administration is like super supportive and they trust the process and stuff. But I think just me, like being the competitive person that I am and just being hard on myself and the expectations that I have, like there's no reason why we shouldn't make playoffs. Like there's just absolutely no reason, especially with 4 spots. Like we always made it with 3 in the
Mm.
league. I don't know why 4 we have an issue. So I think for me, it's just the bold prediction would be Saugus win the league this year.
All right. I'll give
Valencia
you a
make it.
I'll give you a little teaser about Saugus. Saugus just got an influx of players that play on a very, very high level team that just won nationals. About 80% of a team that just went to nationals in Colorado and they've won the top division. They're going to
Nice.
Saugus this year. They're going to be very competitive over the next 4 years. But yeah. So yeah, the high school season is quickly approaching us. I think right around now is usually about 100-day mark but I'm not really too sure when it is. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to our 2 games per year, and it's going to be a good time. So
I will drop this. We have a couple of transfers that I feel really, really things that we've been missing in the past, we got in these guys.
I
So
know
that's
of one that you're talking about.
and
He's a player at LASC. He is
dude,
he's
summer camp, he gets it was like this dude's intense, like intense.
big time.
Uh,
Intense doesn't
dude,
even like
and
begin to, and he's under
but
a great coach in Jose Garcia, and he's gonna learn a lot, and
you
he's
know,
gonna be solid.
it's players like that where you just kind of have to guide them and let them do
Mhm.
what they do best. Like it's just, I wouldn't be surprised. Like there's like guys, like there's always going to be players that are not like they're going to criticize another player, but at the end of the day, dude, this guy is he's good. And then we got another transfer. He plays for LA Bulls club, and I think he's going to be pretty good. I think he's going to give us some explosiveness. He's a winger, so plays 7-11. I think he'll do pretty good. And honestly, I'm expecting a lot from Cyro this year. Like, dude, Cyro had a really good summer camp. Like, he was coaching some of the players, some of the freshman guys. Like, I'm really excited for him. I think Henry, I'm expecting a lot from Henry. Like, I had him playing
Mhm.
on the UPSL team. Like,
Yeah.
and he's really, I think in all of competitive soccer, like in all high school soccer, he's really played competitive soccer more than anyone else. Like you could go MLS next, you go ECNL, but it's not going to prepare you to play against men. You know, so I think
Yeah.
Henry had a he's had a good spring. You know, hopefully his club team does pretty well, but I think he's poised to do some really good stuff this year. He's a senior, 4-year senior,
Yeah.
a 4-year varsity player. I mean, so I'm excited. Like I don't want to downplay it. I am excited. It's just, but I think Saugus is. I'll probably, and I think you'll end up second.
And then also you have a goalkeeper that's going to be competing for probably the best goalkeeper this year.
Yeah.
You know,
Trey's
Trey's
up.
gonna Trey's
Trey's
gonna do
playing.
good.
Yeah, Trey's playing on my club team this year, so that's pretty cool. Like
That's
I'm
good.
pretty excited about that. And he's been. I think he's pretty focused today. I think he was trying a bunch of different things, and right now he seems pretty focused, and it's pretty cool. Like he's just to see him grow. Like every year he's gone better, and I think sometimes he could be hard on himself, and I could be hard on him, but like the expectation for him is really high. So dude, I am excited about high school. Like there's always excitement. High school soccer is always fun. It's just when you're in the moment, like it's so draining. Like you need 2 days of recovery.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
You know.
Well, peeling behind the curtain, me and you will always kind of call each other, and Steph knows that when I call you, it's usually about an hour conversation. Sometimes it can get stretched to two. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, high
Yeah,
school. But
it's all good. But no,
yeah,
I'm excited, man. I hope you guys have a good a good season. I know like you're doing things different and trying to focus on different aspects of high school soccer this year. I know you're changing your approach a little. Like I'm definitely changing my approach, and hopefully, I find the approach that works for us. So it's just messing with it, man. You know how it goes.
yeah. Kind of want to talk a little bit about your coaching style because when we first kind of when you first kind of became a mentor, you were huge into rondos. Everything was a rondo, and I really took that. And I think what it gave us was a sense of intensity. You know, rondo is just quick paced action, bop 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 bop. But since then, you've kind of grown. You've got your C license, and then eventually you got your B license. And I'm just curious that we, after I completed my C license, you said that the B license is also a different level. I'm curious that do you use the B license kind of the methodology that they teach on a consistent basis, or is it more like you kind of took in the information and you apply it here and there?
So my B license, so my C license experience wasn't great. Like it was just going through the motions.
Really?
It was okay. Like it was introducing kind of like that next step from D to C, and it was an achievement and it was okay. But I think that in my class over because they're pretty selective on the people they bring in, and the classes ain't big. There was like maybe 20 students, 24 students per class, and I think there was two classes going on when I did it in the same location. And I felt like it was good, like it was a good step up at the time. But then after going through my B license, dude, like That was hard. Like that was
Really?
hard. Like I've taken some like I took in some pretty hard college courses like at my time at Fresno State, but nothing prepares you for a 6 month course of intensity. And I feel like it also has to do with the instructor. Like we had two B license courses going at the same time. It was in Oregon, and the other class, like they'd hit their break at 9:45, like, and we'd hit our break at 11:45 because our teacher was so intense about
Wow.
everything. Like everything was a breakdown. Like it literally it was he was good. Like, dude, that instructor was legit. Like, probably he just pushed you, made you uncomfortable. Like I felt there where it's like I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I literally
What's
don't know.
what was his name?
Matt, and I can't remember his last name. But his first name was Matt. I'll have to text you his last name, but he was good, dude. Like he was really really legit, and I feel that I don't so it's a very different curriculum, right? Like the C license and the B license, two totally different curriculum styles, everything. And what they're doing is like they break it now. What I did like about it was the environment. The environment is, and the B course is like professional coaches, like people that are coaching for a living, people that
Yeah.
are looking to advance their coaching careers. So that changes the tempo right off the bat. Like they're
Mm.
not just going through the motions. They're there because they want to learn. A lot of them, are academy coaches. A lot of them are college coaches. A lot of them are really really smart coaches. And you're like, wow, like but the atmosphere itself and the culture that they created within like the class for the B license, it was intense. Like it was really good. But do I do a lot of the B stuff? I don't want to say follow it verbatim, but I do a lot of the stuff that more than the C. The C I didn't do that many, but in the B course I I do still follow a lot of the stuff or how they break down the like I'll give an example. Like they'll say, okay, if we're creating turnovers and the final third, offensively while creating a scoring opportunity, then they like they'll map out the field, right? They map out the field and then they map out a smaller portion of the field and then they single out that particular motion on that side of the field. And okay, all these steps got to here. How can we break it down more? Like where was the actual breakdown? Boom.
Wow.
And then so then it's just very detail oriented on the things that they do. And a lot of times like when you go up higher, like they don't want to do rondos. They want it to be like in the flow of the game, like just making the correction, stop it, and then just your positioning on how you coach it. Like there's an orientation phase and implementation phase. So they're very different on your position as a coach on where you stand during those times. So, but I use a lot. I definitely use, I'm not gonna say I use it 100%, but I do use it. But at the end of the day, like it just broadens your ability to learn and just how you interpret the game. So I do use them a lot. I use it, but just not verbatim, but I do use it.
Mm.
But and my style of play, I think honestly it's changed. Like I still you still want to be possession based style of play, but you also I think now there's times where like when I came in to coaching here, like I'd come from an academy, like it was a development academy, so before MLS Next, and it was like a lot of people that you're playing with legitimate players, right? Like guys that have all the fundamentals down. And when you try to bring that into a club atmosphere that's not at that level, it could be very challenging and it could be
Mm-hmm.
very exhausting for you as a coach. I'll give you an example like Zach Jens. I don't know if you know Zach Jens. You remember Zach
Yeah.
Jens?
Yeah.
Was Zach when I first started at Pats, he would be like, "Why are you doing that? Like, why are you doing this?" And I was like, wow, like if you could just see it how I see it, like through
Mm-hmm.
the environment that I've been in, like you would see that this works, but there's certain things that you have to connect. Well, he went to Barca for a few years, right? He went to coach at, or he was working at Barca in Arizona for a
Barca
few
Academy
years.
in Arizona. Yeah.
And every time I see Zach, like I see him here and there, like he was at one of our friends' weddings not too long ago, and I talked to him for a while, and now he's at Surf. But the last time I saw him, I go, hey, so you remember now that you've been at Barca, now you've been at different places, and Barca is probably the most familiar to an academy style because they're MLS next. I go, how do you mimic that environment here? Like, how do you create that here? And he's like, you can't, like, you can't, like, it's just
Yeah.
impossible. You can't. I go, he's like, but I see what you were trying to do now. Then he's like, and I could see how you have to tweak it, but it's just different styles. And I think now I think I'm a little more open to not being so gun ho about, hey, let's just hold possession for this and do this and exercise have to do XYZ. Like I want it to flow more and I want it to be a little more open. And I also want players to be more creative, make their own
Mhm.
decisions and not just create robots. So I think it's just an evolution, man. Like sometimes if I have the player personality that has ballers, like, dude, I want the ball at their feet and just let them do what they do.
Hmm. What is one non-negotiable that you demand from your team like any team that you have, what is just one thing that you demand from every single one of your teams?
So I guess I would say the biggest non-negotiable for me is how you use the right words here. It's more about the how you communicate with your teammates, right?
Hmm.
Like it has nothing really to do with soccer itself. It has to do with everything of how you speak to your teammates, how you treat them, how you encourage them, right? Like it bothers me when someone's just criticizing your teammate on the field. Okay, well, how about you become a better teammate and give them advice on how they could do it better, or help coach them to be able to understand a movement that they could do that's going to take them out of that situation. So I would say it's just supportive. Like if you're not a supportive teammate, it bothers me. Like it just really bothers me because like everyone's different levels, and you think all these players think that they're the best thing since sliced bread, and the reality is that you're only as good as your teammates are, and if you can't make your teammates better, that shows a lot of where you're at. So
That is one thing. I have a boys 2010 team, and one thing that we really, really struggle with is just the proper communication with each other and like what a real team sounds like, what a real team, how a real team communicates effectively with one another. And it's no longer this criticism. It's of or negative criticism, I should say. It's nothing but positive, instructive feedback. And we did a tournament where we got whomped 4-0 in the first game, and then I told the boys, I was like, you need to go to have lunch and you need to go enjoy and be together, and the next time you guys come on this field, I need you guys thinking positively. And something clicked in them and they just turned it around, and we had probably the best game that I've ever seen them play, and it's all just because of how we talk to each other. And so yeah, that's really good. But dude, I just want to say again, thank you so much for coming on, being the first guest, and helping me kickstart this thing off. It's given me motivation to reach out to other coaches and kind of do the same thing, have an open dialogue. And I think somewhere down the line, we'll definitely have you come back on again. And at the very beginning, you mentioned that you came to my wedding, and I just want to say thank you again. My wife, Steph, she told me that you find out who your real friends are when the ones that stay until the very end, and you and Gracie were right there. So thank you so much for not only being a great mentor but being a great friend. Best of luck to UPSL next year, to your SCV Pats teams, to your college team, and to Valencia, as long as they're not playing Golden Valley, man. But thank you very much for coming on.
no, dude, thank you for having me. I was honestly I was a little surprised when you wanted me to be your first guest. I was like, I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
no, but thank you. I appreciate it. And then I just want to do a quick shout out to my wife because to be honest, dude, like if Gracie wasn't supportive of me coaching and doing all these extracurricular activities, I don't think it'd be possible. So she's been super supportive throughout the years and just really appreciate it. And my kids that have been super like honestly I've at first I used to coach for them but it was just an excuse and and now that they're now that they put on the UPSL team so but that was fun but at the end everyone's been super supportive and soccer's just a huge role in our lives so but thank you man thank you for having me on and just being a good friend man I think I know a lot of people but I don't have too many friends so definitely consider you a friend so hopefully the
Appreciate you.
best of luck with this. And I'm looking forward to hearing all other good stories that you're gonna have on here.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. All right, and then we'll do it again in the future. Maybe we'll throw it all the way back and invite Ken on here or something like that, and the three of us can
Oh,
have a. All right,
it'll be
Coach.
fun. All right, man.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so
All
much.
right, we'll talk later. See ya.